Here's why I think you versus you is BS. The whole concept of this fitness game being a competition between you and yourself, I don't think that works. I don't think for me that's the best way to go about things, and I say that to everyone. Here's why. For me, fitness is a game of discipline. It's a game of consistency and discipline. That's all it is. It's that simple. There's not much to it. When it comes to fitness, you work hard, you train hard, you sleep well. Three things. That's all it is. It's pretty simple. And the hardest thing that people fail to do, the hardest thing that gets people is discipline and consistency. You can go to the gym 5 days a week, and at some point, it's going to get hard. You're not going to want to go to the gym anymore. And you might end up going 4 times a week. And then the next week, you might go 3 times a week. Discipline starts to fade off when, your motivation runs off. People are motivated. Motivation is a good ignition, but it's not going to last you the whole way. And when people say it's you versus you, every day you're worsening you and you're trying to beat yourself, I don't think that works. Here's why. One of the things that drives me is competition. I think competition is one of the biggest drivers for me. I'm really competitive. I want to be the best that I can be. I'm not competitive against other people. I don't care what other people do, but I hold myself to a higher standard. And I think you should too. I don't think it should be you versus you. I think it should be you versus a better version of yourself. Now, you can put it in two ways. You can either look at yourself as it could be you versus a better version of yourself, or it could be someone else out there, a imaginary person who looks like you, who has the same life as you. He has the same lifestyle as you, the same parents as you, the same relationships as you, going through the same struggles that you are right now. But the other guy does everything that you're supposed to do. He wakes up earlier than you. He goes to the gym every single day. He doesn't miss a meal. He doesn't miss a supplement. He doesn't miss a day of taking creatine. It's you, but it's some other guy. It's an imaginary version. It's some hypothetical version of yourself that does every single thing that you are supposed to do. But he does it. I think you should compare yourself to that. I think you should hold yourself. You should compete against the highest standard of yourself. Because that's what's going to drive you. If you look at it as you're competing with yourself, what is there to compete with? If you're not disciplined, you're competing against someone who's also not disciplined because you're competing against yourself. You have to be competing with someone better than you. That's how you're going to drive yourself. That's how you're going to motivate. Motivation is one thing. That's how you're going to stay disciplined every single day. On days that you don't feel like going to the gym, when you have that mindset that you should do this because that imaginary guy is doing it. When you can't wake up in the morning at 4 a.m., he's going to wake up. What's stopping you? And that's what works for me. I look at myself as, I compare myself to a future me, a better version of myself. I want to be better than him. And the thing is, you're never going to be better than him. But that's what drives you. Because you're constantly going to get better and better. And as you get better, the better version of yourself gets better. It's a never-ending process. You're always getting better. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but it surely makes sense for me because that's what I do. People ask me, how do you stay disciplined? How do you go to the gym every single day? Because I'm competitive. I want to be the best. I want to beat this guy. Even though this guy, it's not another person. It's just me, but a better version of me. A version of me that, that does everything that I am supposed to do. And I'm trying to catch up to him. I think you should not compare yourself, but compete against someone better than you. And that could be an imaginary person. That could be a hypothetical better version of yourself. But I think that's what's going to drive you. That competitiveness. You need to bring that out. If you feel like, you've been slacking off the gym, get competitive. Write down what you should be doing every single day. Every single thing you should be doing. How many times a week you should be going to the gym. What kind of meals you should be eating. What your life hustle goals are. What your business goals are. What your work goals are. Write it all down. And then put it in your brain that someone else is doing exactly that. Everything you're supposed to be doing. Someone else is doing that and more. What's stopping you? Someone else who has the same struggles, the same life as you, but he's putting in that extra 10, 20, 30% more work into it. And if that doesn't push you, if the fact that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, if that doesn't push you, I don't know what will. What's going to push you? Do you not want to live the kind of life that he's living? He's putting in that work, or she, no matter what you are, he or she, whatever, they're putting in that work. Why aren't you? They have the same struggles as you, the same everything, but why aren't you putting in the work? And the same goes when people ask me, even I ask myself, what happens if I miss a day of creatine? What happens if I miss a day of taking, my multivitamin supplements or my B12 supplements? What happens? I mean, there's going to be people that say one day of not taking creatine won't do much. But when you compare yourself to that other person who does not miss a day of taking creatine, that puts a perspective on things. He is going to be better. That's just objective fact. He's going to be better off than you in the long run because he's taken that extra day of creatine. And as small as that difference may be, over time, all these little things that you miss out on every single day, maybe you forget to take this one day, maybe if you don't eat right the next day, maybe, you don't go as hard in the gym one day. It's not going to make or break your progress, but these things build up over time. Meanwhile, that other person is doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're not missing a single day. They're putting in the work every single day in the gym, and they are going to be better than you. And this works for me. This is what drives me. Competitiveness. Not against someone else. It's not egotistical. You're competing against a better version of yourself. You're holding yourself to a higher standard and competing against that. I hope this makes sense. I honestly think this little mindset change, it worked wonders for me. And I think it'll work wonders for you too. So write down everything you should be doing every single day. And that's whatever you write down, someone else is doing exactly that. And they're going to be better off in life. They're putting in that work. They're going to be more successful than you. Do you want the life that they're living? You should put in the work. You should be doing every single thing. And I guess this goes with sort of everything, like what I said. Missing one day of gym, it's not going to do much. Missing one day of taking creatine, not going to do much. Missing one day of not hitting your caloric goals, probably won't do much. In the long run though, it'll add up. In the long run, even that little 0.5% difference that, missing one day of gym makes, it's going to add up. And someone else isn't doing that. Someone else is going to the gym that day. Someone else is waking up early. Someone else is getting in those extra steps every single day. And they are going to be better than you. These little things adds up. So as much as you can, try to beat that person. Hold yourself to that standard. Hold yourself to the standard that you want to be, not to the standard that you are right now. Don't compete against yourself. Don't do that. Compete against a better version of yourself. And, if you are really competitive, you could look at that as someone else. I don't recommend that, but if that works for you, do that. Compare yourself against someone else who's doing better than you. Beat that person. But I think it's healthy to look at yourself and compare and compete against a better version of yourself, an imaginary person. Because you're never going to beat that person. They're going to get better. As you get better, they're going to get better. And soon over time, you realize that you'll be doing those things. You won't be missing a day of gym. You won't be missing a day of taking creatine. It'll become habit. And if you miss one day, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel off. It'll become such a habit that you have to do every single little thing every single day. You have to take creatine every single day. You won't even have to think about it. You'll just do it. Like going to the gym, waking up early, going to the gym. You don't even have to think about it. It doesn't even have to be a thought process. You just wake up and you go. It becomes habit. After a certain amount of time, this whole lifestyle, this whole routine just becomes habit. You won't have to put in any effort. You don't need motivation to push you. It will just become habit. Just like brushing your teeth, this will become habit. So you versus you is BS. Be competitive. Hold yourself to a high standard. You versus a better version of yourself. Someone better than you. Try that. Try holding yourself to a higher standard. Because you can be better. You can be better. You need to be better. There's no other choice. And that's in your control. That's in your complete control. Everyone can be better than they are right now. Everyone.